It wasn't just one house or on the street. We're talking, 2 blocks over. And when we played kick the can, we'd have 4 houses down one street one way and 4 houses down the other way that we could hide in their yards. Well, we were playing kick the can, of course. Everybody had been found. And I'm still up the tree. And so my dad is looking around and he's asking Sean, so where's your sister? And I'm up in the tree. Help! Help! Because I climbed too high and I was stuck up there. And it was in our yard, so it's not like I was really that far from home. So pretty soon, my dad says, well, you need to go up the tree and help your sister down. He's like, well, a cat climbs up a tree and figure out how to get down, so she can figure out how to get down. She went up the tree, she should figure out how to get down. And you say, him and his friend had to come up the tree and help me get down. My dad kind of made him. So that's one thing. And then Sean told you the Easter story, and so let's see. Up at the cabin, we'd be, like Sean was saying, we would be walking down the road up there, and not too far from my grandma's cabin, there was a culvert, and there was just these pipes that came out, and all 3 of us kids fished off these culvert pipes at one time or another. And there's a nice fishing hole down below. But up there, if you were walking down the road, and it's a gravel road, and a car's coming, they were not allowed to know that we were up there. So we'd have to literally jump into the blackberries if you saw a car coming down the road. So here we are, walking down the road, and you hear a car, and they're like, dive in the bushes! And it's like, oh man, again? And I'll tell you, sometimes that was not a very pleasant experience of jumping in there. But it was really nice to go up to my great-grandmother's cabin because it was kind of like going back in time. There was no running water, there was no power, and yes, there was an outhouse for a restroom. And that's an experience in its own. For those of you who've ever been out camping, well, camping is one thing, but having to go use an outhouse, and we're not talking like a porta potty, we're talking about, an old wood outhouse. That when you leave, you gotta dig a hole and bury stuff. Not a pleasant experience. But in the middle of the night, if you had to go, there's critters up there. So you see these glowing eyes, and it was kind of scary having to go walk. Because the cabin would be here, you had to walk through the woodshed and out to the cabin, which was a ways away. It was, you get out there and you see these glowing eyes, and you turn around and say, do I really have to go? I don't think I really have to go that bad. I think I'm going to go back and go to bed. So I'd have to wake my mom or dad up and say, I have to go to the restroom. Can one of you guys escort me out there? Because, it was kind of spooky. But at the same time, it was really cool because, like I said, everything always seemed to taste better up there. We learned how to play King's Corner up there. My dad was, really good at winning all the card games up there. Of course, he was really good at winning games, period. But it was just kind of nice to be able to go up there and actually sit down and visit and not have, the technology and the distractions of life and stuff. And so I really enjoyed those times, not only with my father, but with my family in general. And the last few years, after my mom became really ill and they moved out to Eatonville, next door to me, it was kind of difficult at first, having your parents next door to you again as, an adult. But, we were really good about respecting each other's privacy. They kind of let me live my life and I kind of let them live their life. And sometimes, even to this day, with my dad and Aunt Pat, you hear stuff in town, they'd say, oh, did you know that they're going to be doing this? And I'm like, no, I didn't know they were going to be doing this. And they're like, really? How do you not know that? You live next door to them.
He would have to be home for us to know what he was doing.
But living in a small town, news travels fast. But there's also good things about that too. I know my dad was so much more relaxed when he moved out to Eatonville. He loved the animals that came in his yard. He put, corn and apples out for the deer, and got little peanut house things for the squirrels and stuff to come up, and they figure out how to get peanuts out of the jar. And it just was really nice to have him close. And I really enjoyed my time with both of them living out there. And for those of you who have been able to come out to their house and see it and spend some time there, you know what I'm talking about. But like I said, I could go, oh, I know one thing I have to to say. For those of you who've known us long enough, when we lived in our house in South Park, okay, that was a really creepy house. It was this old house, I mean really old farmhouse, and people who stayed there swear this thing was haunted because they would hear weird things in the middle of the night. And in my room, I had this light fixture, and it did not have an actual light fixture over it. It was just like a light bulb with 2 screws coming out of it. And for some reason, I thought it was a clown. And I was scared to death of this clown-shaped light bulb. Everybody else talk about all this other creepy stuff in the house, and I'm afraid of my light bulb in my room, okay? And upstairs, it was a steep staircase. And you came up the stairs, you went around the landing, and my room, and then Sean's room, and then you went down the hall, and there was one bedroom, another bedroom, and our parents' bedroom was at the end. Well, Sean had this really nice habit of crawling out his bedroom window and onto the roof. And so the neighbors would call and say, or come over and say, do you know that your son is up on the roof of your house? And we're talking, you know, a 2-story steep roof. And here's Sean up there. So they finally nailed his window shut because he kept creeping out. Then he started coming out of the bedroom door, and he was walking on the inside of the railing of the steps. So my dad decided to keep him in his room, he would tie his bedroom door to mine and lock us both in our room at night. Now, I didn't do anything, but here I am being locked in my room because Sean couldn't stay in his room. But yeah, and then it was just, I mean, hilarious. I still haven't figured out why exactly he didn't tie it to the banister of the stairs, but for some reason he tied our doors together. And that was a much better, I guess, answer to that question. So, but like I said, I could go on and on, but the main thing is, as all of you know, I love my father very much. He was a wonderful man. He pretty much would just talk to anybody. He got along with everybody. He did a lot of good for the community. He did a lot of good for our family. He's irreplaceable, and I'm going to miss him very much. And I can say too that I'm really glad that you all came out and joined us today and yesterday. And please, as many of you that have stories, come up and tell them, because for us kids, my husband is back there video recording. Hi, myself. Is video recording this so that later on the 3 of us kids can get together and we can watch this in honor of my father. And that was my Aunt Pat's idea. And we really appreciate that idea, Aunt Pat. That was a wonderful, wonderful idea. So, like I said, please feel free to come up here and join special stories. So, that's all I can think of, otherwise I'll just sit here and ramble on and on and on. So, thank you all.
Hey, Karen, have some of the folks who grew up there.
Well, we'll get to that, Tom. Thank you very much, Karen. I think one of the reasons why your folks tied your doors together there was not only to keep Sean in his room, but kind of train you from up in the cabin there where you didn't need to go to the bathroom unless you really had to. If you're locked in there all night, you were kind of adjusted to that already.
That's true.
I heard that Aria, am I pronouncing that right?
Yep.
Harry's great grandchild has a song she'd like to sing right now. It's very, very sweet.
Yay.
You want to come up front? Okay. It's Harry's great granddaughter. Aria, are you going to speak? Would you like me to hold the microphone for you? Okay. It's all yours.
We didn't dream. We didn't dream. It's not like a butterfly. Do you? Wings and a dream. Do you?
Beautiful. She's such a good singer. That was beautiful. Thank you very much. I'm sure your grandpa would really like that. I'm sure he loves that song. Scott, did you want to sing? No? Okay. try to get to the family first. I can come to you. That's fine.
I just want to say that when Linda died, I guess I got Harry in the wheel. But my sister and I both had a chance to love him. And I have a story that actually he told me about his parents when they came out of the mountains. He was telling them, you know, they were walking on a trail and he was saying, you know, you need to be really careful because there's bears around here. He said, in fact, there's one up in that apple tree right now. And he said he never saw his folks move so fast. And they were so afraid they wouldn't go out to go to the bathroom or anything. And then there's a story that I'd like Ron to tell about the outhouse.
I do not know that story.
Michigan, out in Michigan. Oh,
No.
there's an old lady that lived by the golf course, and she was always giving you guys a hard time. And so you guys went to her outhouse, and then you threw apples at her. So
That wasn't me. No, that's
She fell in the hole.
Kind of shit.
That's what Christmas meal we got his wife. But it was worth it.
That wasn't me. We had one of his other friends.
Thank you so much, Pat. Tyler, did you have something you wanted to say right now, or if it's not a good time, we can come back to you, or however you want to do this? Sure.
Some of you have already heard this speech, some of you haven't though, but either way I added a bit to it because I thought of some things last night. But for like I said, hello everyone.
Hello.
For very few of you who do not know me, my name is Tyler Mix and I am the eldest grandson of Harry. I'm not going to say my grandfather was a great man because we already know that he was. Also, I believe the term great doesn't do him justice. He was far more than a great man. There will never be another person like him. I have had the great fortune of having my grandparents live next to me for the past 16 years. I remember through school, I would often brag about this. I wasn't very popular in school due to my behavior, but my peers were always envious that I had my grandparents living next to me. They always wished they had their grandparents next door. My grandfather taught me many things, and there were many things that he didn't get around to teaching me that he wanted to teach me. Mainly golf. He took me many times to show me, driving range, practice swinging, but I don't think he got me as involved in golf as he would have liked me to. I don't blame him though. He gave a lot to the community and people around him, and he was a very busy man. And I know even if he was just too busy to spend time with me, but he would get to it. And I can attribute many things to him. My enjoyment of sports, my love for card and dice games, my love for nature, even my job at Northwest Track was thanks to Haley, my grandpa. He got me that job. And I also got my luck from him. Not just at the casino, but luck in general. My parents always said that I have his luck. But probably the most important thing he did for me was he made sure I took my academics seriously. He always told me he didn't do as well in school as he would have liked. And he wanted to make sure that I took things seriously and I did not make the same mistake that he did. In fact, he would have me bring my report card in when I got them, and he would give me money for how well I did in school. And of course, the most being for A's. Now, I brought home straight A report cards with a couple B's, but we don't talk about those. But, so you can imagine I got quite a lot of money. But it was never really about the money for me. What I did it for was to see the look on his face every time he saw my report cards and all the A's on it. His face would just light up and he'd be like, "Good job." and it's just how happy it made him. So I just wanted to strive to continue to get, straight A's, and so he would always be proud of me. I mean, he would be proud of me nonetheless, but so I'm proud to say that now in college, I maintain about 3.8 GPA with honors. And it's mostly thanks to him and well, other people in the family, but especially him, pushing me to always do my best. Whenever I was stressed or worried about an assignment, he would always say something like, "Nah, you're a smart kid. I'm not worried about you one bit. I know you'll get it done. You can do it. Just focus." Never doubted me. He always knew I could do it. He was just always there to encourage me and cheer me on. I guess another thing that I got from him is my career. I became interested in architecture, arguably thanks to my grandparents. My grandfather always wanted to have a log cabin on a lake, a log cabin lake house. And he wanted that everybody could go to, the family could go to in the summer. He wanted to have the family go out fishing and just have a good time together. I remember when I was 5 years old, I went over with my mom to their house. My grandmother had a local magazine. I ended up being fascinated by the drawings of the floor plans, which compelled me to ask to take the magazine home with me. And then upon returning home, I immediately drew up a house right there. And I still have that house too. And then it got me fascinated into log homes, and I decided that I was going to live in a log home. And some of these drawings, my parents sent to a company, and they said that they'd never seen someone my age do that, and that they've got to make sure that I continued to design houses. And I'm not going to go into too much detail because that's more about me, not about my grandpa, but so anyway, it's thanks to my grandparents that I discovered my gift and my ability in life and my calling, my career. And now I have a new goal that I've decided.